Today on the CTV News at 5, Alison Redford's throne speech focuses on job creation and smarter spending. Plus, when a city funeral home owner will be sentenced for fraud. And Elton John is on his way to Lethbridge.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. The provincial government has announced its priorities for the next session. Lieutenant Governor Don Ethel delivered the speech just a few hours ago.
Promising to build a society that is not inferior to that in any province or state in North America.
The Redford government says over the next few years it will aim to diversify Alberta's economy so it's not so dependent on oil and gas. The government is also promising stable funding for education, advanced education, and municipalities. And the Tories say all departments will be expected to justify every dollar in their budget over the next 3 years. We have more coming up on our news at 5:30. And residents opposed to clear-cut logging in southwestern Alberta spent the day phoning the Alberta legislature, urging the Premier and MLAs to stop the logging and protect the Castle Special Area. The Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society have been urging Albertans to take part in the phone-a-thon. Last week, the RCMP arrested 4 demonstrators, and Spray Lakes Logging began building a road into a logging site southwest of Beaver Mines. The phone campaign was scheduled to coincide with the opening of the Alberta legislature. Anti-logging rallies are scheduled for Calgary and Edmonton next Tuesday. Organizers say the goal is to show the widespread public opposition to logging. Just days after an avalanche in southeastern BC has sent one man to hospital with serious injuries, another slide has hit. The avalanche happened yesterday afternoon near Fernie, BC. RCMP say that they don't believe anyone was injured. However, search and rescue were deployed as a precaution. Back on Saturday, a man had to be dug out and rescued after an avalanche hit near Kimberley, BC. Well, Dora, we knew it was going to happen eventually. Reality check. Snow is in the forecast.
Absolutely. We are looking at some periods of snow as we get into Friday and Saturday. We've got a combination of systems. We've got an Arctic high pressure area sliding down from the north and precipitation rolling in from the BC coast. So the direction will be out of the southwest, and it doesn't look like it's going to go any further north than maybe Claresholm as we get into Thursday and Friday. Calgary's not even putting it in their forecast package, so it's a real southern Alberta isolated event, but I'll give you more details in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory. Well, there is a developing story coming out of Killam, a community about 2 hours southeast of Edmonton. There are reports 2 RCMP officers have been shot. Stars Air Ambulance has been sent to the scene. We'll have more details as they become available to us. Now, the future of the Catholic Charities Closed Bank in Lethbridge is now in the hands of the courts. The Court of Queen's Bench is being asked to resolve an ongoing dispute between the Catholic Church and the society that runs the closed bank. The dispute is over who owns title to the charity's property. The closed bank says it needs the title in order to secure funding for renovations and future projects. Terry Boat reports.
The Catholic Charities Clothes Bank has been operating in Lethbridge for decades, but now the Court of Queen's Bench is being asked to rule on whether the facilities here are owned by the non-profit society or by the Calgary Diocese of the Roman Catholic Church, currently represented by Bishop Frederick Henry. The lawyer representing the closed bank argues this is a dispute over corporate governance and control. The Calgary Diocese maintains the bishop has overriding authority over all aspects of the church, even non-profit societies. And society officials say at stake is the future of Catholic charities in Lethbridge. They say the bishop is refusing to sign papers needed to get funding to pay staff and keep the warehouse and stores operating. And title to the property is essential, or they may have to close their doors. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The Queen's Bench Justice heard arguments from both sides this afternoon and is expected to hand down a ruling later this month. A Southern Alberta funeral home operator will be sentenced in April for fraud. Earlier this month, or late last month rather, Ralph Zettner pleaded guilty to fraud under $5,000. 9 criminal charges were laid against Zettner and his wife. Police say they billed the government for scattering or burying ashes of homeless people, but they didn't actually do it. The Zettners were also charged with inflating costs and indignity to human remains for allegedly cutting off a finger to remove a ring. The Crown has dropped the 8 remaining charges and is asking for 9 to 12 months jail time. The defense wants a conditional discharge and probation. Zettner will be sentenced April 11th. And the former chair of the Taber Police Commission will be sentenced in April as well on charges of accessing child pornography and using the internet to commit the offense of luring a child under 18. 43-year-old Curtis David Parody pleaded guilty to the charges last week. The Crown withdrew 7 other charges, including possessing and distributing child pornography. Parody has admitted to using a computer to communicate with a girl under 18 but over 16 years old for the purpose of accessing child pornography. Sentencing arguments are scheduled for April 13th and expected to take a full day. Parody's lawyer, Doug Carl, says the Crown and defense don't agree on what an appropriate sentence would be, but he will be seeking a conditional sentence without jail time.
We, of course, believe that society and Mr. Parody are both better served by him receiving treatment and counseling than the state paying for a period of incarceration. We, of course, believe that Mr. Parody is in absolutely no chance of reoffending or being a further risk to the community. So, of course, that would be something we're asking for.
The judge will make a final decision April 13th after hearing arguments from both sides. And the court has also ordered a risk assessment and pre-sentence report prior to sentencing. 2 people are facing charges after a stabbing in South Lethbridge yesterday. Police received a 911 call just before 2 o'clock Monday afternoon that a man had been attacked in the 1200 block of 7th Avenue South. The victim was treated for non-life-threatening injuries to his back and arm. Lori Ann Cardinal has been charged with assault with a weapon, while Keith Flynn is charged with assault. And a correction to a story we brought you yesterday about Alberta Health Services shutting down a home-based tattoo parlor in Lethbridge. The Sandra Wilson tattoo operation was located in a home at 501B Stafford Drive North. It's been closed now because of health violations. People who got tattoos are now being asked to be tested for blood-borne viruses like HIV, hepatitis B, and C. We were given the wrong phone number for people looking to arrange for testing. The correct number is the one on your screen, 403-388-6664. The procedure is free and confidential. Well, with the increase in social media sites and cell phone use, bullying has gone from the playground inside the home. In line with Safer Internet Day, Lethbridge Regional Police are reminding parents to be aware. Bullies now have access to their victims 24/7. Research shows kids fear losing their internet and cell phone privileges if they confess to being bullied. Cyberbullying is more common than some may think.
To be honest, for our school, resource officers usually put at least 1 through a day where someone is alleged that they've been either bullied via text or through Facebook or something to that effect. So we take the problem seriously. We know that it's out there and that we try to work with the schools and the students and the parents to keep everyone safe.
Officers say it's crucial for parents to have an open line of communication with their kids, helping guide them to make safe and responsible decisions online. The superintendent of the Lethbridge Public School District says input from parents, teachers, and students is invaluable to shaping the future of education in the area. Barry Latoon and the district's Board of Trustees held their 5th annual town hall meeting last night at Victoria Park School. It's a chance to voice concerns about the current state of education and offer suggestions for moving forward. Latoon admits that while all ideas coming from the meeting are recorded and considered, they are restrained by the budget. Last year, the group asked for smaller class sizes, but due to cutbacks and a depletion of the board's reserves, they weren't able to move forward.
It's really, really important. I think that one of the goals, of course, of the board is to fully engage all of the community. And that means not only providing opportunities for the community to provide input, but how can we get the message of what's happening out to the community. We obviously want to continue the great support for public education we have in Lethbridge, and one of the ways is to learn how we can have our message about the great accomplishments of our students and staff known in the community.
Well, the first year of university can be a confusing time for students, but the University of Lethbridge is hoping to smooth out the transition with a new initiative. The U of L is launching a mentorship program to support First Nations, Métis, and Inuit students. Scotiabank donated $150,000 to help kickstart the program. Aboriginal U of L alumni will be available to guide the students through their studies, offering support, advice, and helping to instill confidence as they continue their journey through university.
It's a really big support knowing that the community is behind you, not only your immediate family, but as I mentioned, clan systems earlier, and it really helps to have that behind you and know that even if you do fall, there's all those people that catch you. They'll prop you back up and to give you that encouragement to keep on going.
And the program will expand into the community with Aboriginal U of L students mentoring junior and senior high school students, both on the reserve and in the city. Well, a Calgary man is finally talking about a bizarre event that happened a few months ago near Waterton Lakes National Park when a bear cub broke into and then out of his SUV. It happened back in October when the animal opened an unlocked door in the SUV, which was parked outside a cabin near Waterton Lakes National Park. And as you can see, the bear went crazy trying to get out, deploying airbags, ripping out seats, even bending the steering column. The bear caused $60,000 damage before finally crashing through the rear window to freedom. Tim Hamilton says he didn't want people to think it was a bad bear or a dangerous bear. Coincidentally, Hamilton's insurance company is the same one that has the TV ad about a bear that destroys a vehicle. Needless to say, they didn't give him any trouble when he filed his claim. Well, if you're visiting Calgary, you may notice they have horses walking around the downtown core. In Lethbridge, some police officers are on bike patrol. And in Calgary, a select group ride horses. With more, here's this week's Farm.tv.
A lot of patience and consistency with training are key to preparing horses for the Calgary Police Service's Mounted Enforcement Unit. Sergeant Derek McGowan, a member of the unit for 17 years, shared horse training techniques with attendees to the 30th Annual Alberta Horse Industry Conference in Red Deer.
Our techniques we use don't vary too much from other people's. We like to flag our horses with a plastic bag and a stick. That way they learn to tolerate movement and noise all around their body and underneath and over top and ears and stuff like that. We use gunfire, of course. We have access to sirens, so we carry flags with our horses. It just boils down to our imagination as to what we train these horses with.
And how long does it take to train these horses before they can hit the streets of Calgary?
The time put into each horse before he's truly trustworthy depends on the horse. But if I had to give you a figure, I'd say 1 to 2 years of consistent riding and training before I am fully trustworthy of that horse to go out on his own into downtown Calgary and do his.
Of course, when seen downtown, it's pretty hard not to go up and pet one of these horses, something Sergeant McGowan encourages the public to do.
A big part of our job is to be open to the public, and we like to see the public come up. Because in all honesty, the taxpayers of Calgary, they own those horses. We're just in charge of them.
Consistency and patience make police horses very adaptable to different situations. Techniques and advice that any horse owner can benefit from.
Farm TV is brought to you by DA Building Systems.
Well, on the markets, the loonie ended the day on an up note and above parity. Here are the closing numbers.